Hey, that was I like this 4 key principles.
Yeah.
Good.
Hello.
And Dave, I really appreciated that story you shared. That's heartfelt. I must say I'm envious that you grew up with parents that were that caring for each other and
Yeah. And didn't even
exemplified.
realize it. Yeah. I didn't even realize because I think that's all of us, when we grow up and whatever our kind of situation was, we think sometimes maybe that's normal. And I don't know. I'll share this as well. And this I think is pretty rare, but I've never heard my dad raise his voice. Maybe it's the generation at any of us kids. He's never yelled at us and he's never raised his voice at my mom ever. Ever. And some people are like, oh, that's not healthy or that's not normal. And it probably isn't normal, but still, I look back at it and I'm like, my dad's he's a saint, man.
That's extraordinary. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Pretty rare, but I'm so grateful for
Something we should all strive for, all of those things you just mentioned. So Jeff, how did you mentioned you were looking at 11 different things or something, or when you came up with this list?
Yeah. So I'd have to pull up the report, and I'll do that right now just so that I can be specific. But some of it was attitudes about kids and attitudes about divorce, and we actually did having a joint bank account was in there. It wasn't one of the top 4. Let's see.
And there was, I think, what did you say, 2,000? Did you say it was a sample of 2,000?
Yeah, 2,000. It was. It wasn't couple data. It was just 2,000 married people from all over the U.S.
Any age, or was it like 21 to 80 or?
I want to say it was 18 to 55.
Okay.
So we wanted pre-retirement.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, okay. Let's look at the footnote here. Yeah, we actually didn't rank them after number 4, so
okay.
I can't answer Rex's question.
Well, what did I'll tell you.
So it was mostly or completely agreeing that divorce should be avoided if kids are involved. Let's see.
That's a good one. Because
pooling your finances, stating that your marriage was more of we before me, rather than looking at your own needs first, feeling that marriage is for life rather than for as long as you both feel fulfilled in the relationship. We had this forced choice question where we asked, marriage is mostly about an intense romantic connection between 2 adults rather than marriage is partly about romance, but also about the kids' money and raising a family together. And, they could choose one or the other. Anyway, so there was, and following an old boyfriend or girlfriend online. Which, yeah.
Didn't rank high.
Well, that one, in some of our other research, that one has shown to be a problem.
Oh, yeah. I would imagine.
And it's almost like, we talk about the whole idea of marijuana being a gateway drug and all that kind of stuff, and you can argue that point or not. But everyone who reported an affair in a different sample that we had, we're also looking at old girlfriends and old boyfriends online, and so it was, anyway.
Is that where the affair would start though? Like, or would they?
Right. We didn't have the data detailed enough to be able to answer that. But even if we just take that one variable alone, following an old boyfriend or girlfriend online, it was related to less happiness in marriage. It was related to greater thoughts of instability, like our marriage might end in divorce. It was related to lower sexual satisfaction in the relationship. So, and again, might it be that the marriages who are unhappy, they're not having great sex, and they are worried that they're going to divorce, are they going to be more likely to be following old girlfriends and boyfriends online? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. But, it's something that we just tell people that, again, a very easy thing that's in your control. Just take your old boyfriend or girlfriend off your Facebook and off your Instagram and whatever.
Lay the ghosts to rest.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's really what they are.
Yep.
What really stood out to me, I like all 4 of these. And the protectiveness, as you've talked about that, I think the best advice I got before I got married was, and it was so good because I had seen it happen in my family, but was from a friend that I worked with, was like, oh, when you get married, the best thing I can tell you is don't complain about your spouse to your family.
Yes.
And generally not your friends either, but mostly your family. And
yes.
I was like, oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, I think that is so key. The only time you talk about your spouse to anybody, when your spouse isn't there, you say good things and you just leave the bad stuff out, right? Because nobody likes to have their be talked about behind their back, and because we know so much about each other, right? Because marriage is such this relationship with such a possibility for intimacy and connection. There's also there's so much possibility to hurt and harm, right? And so it's just a good idea not to talk about your spouse unless you've got something good to say about them.
Yeah, and I like you mentioned about in front of the kids too, is being protective of each other, being on the same page, being seen as a unit, like a team, like you're. If the linebackers complaining about the quarterback, you're going to have some trouble,
right? Right. Yeah, and actually, some of the research shows that that's the number 2 topic of conflict in a marriage is the kids. Fighting about the kids, and so I think it's just important that parents draw the boundaries together, right, and say, okay, we like this idea about how our kids should treat each other, how they should treat us. Here's a good curfew. Just coming up with all that stuff together. What
about the interaction between the husband and wife? Like for my marriage, it's been incredible. My wife and I try to build each other up and say, that was really good. I really liked how you did that. Or, man, that really helped me today. Or, you're so good at this certain thing. That seems like it would be like a subsidiary of protectiveness too.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that came up in the research?
No, again, we didn't have that quite detailed of a survey, but no, I think you're right. It's showing, it's showing loyalty. It's showing that I see you as a person, right? I acknowledge your strengths as a person. Yeah. I don't know, Liz. I mean,
gosh,
you probably got better expertise.
I was going to say, I think it's, just as good as that multiple date night every month. Yeah. I think just that I see you, I get you, I love you, I accept you. Well, that's what we all want, right? It's just for that one person to really, make that stamp of approval. So I think there's so many things pulling on us to tell us we're not good enough.
Yeah.
Right? We're not up to par. And to have a spouse who says, wow, you're really good at that. You make a difference in my life. It's just nothing better.
Yeah. Yeah. Or one thing that I'm by no means the best husband in the world. It's so funny. People come up to me. Oh, you're in marriage. You must have a fabulous marriage. I have a great marriage, right? But I'm not the best husband. But one thing that I've noticed is as we get older, my wife has started to talk negatively about herself. And so when I hear that, I try to, no, sweetheart, just that's not how it is. That's not how you are. You're wonderful. You're capable. Just because I don't know. It just makes me sad.
It hurts. Please don't talk about her that way, right?
Yeah. What does that say about my choice? I picked you. You're great. I like what I got the idea from Jordan Peterson, because he says that there's so many people that come up to him that say they just don't get encouraging words. And I'm like, that's so true, especially for men. I feel like that. So my wife and I try to practice that now a lot, and I say it's helped my self-esteem and just had a dramatic effect on everything. Yeah, and and that's one of the things that I was thinking about in prepping for this podcast. Is I know that your listenership is mostly women, and I think actually that might be a message that needs to be said. Is men will just shrug their shoulders and keep on pushing and not tell you their needs. And so just the fact that you show them
a little bit of affection, whether it's verbal or physical affection, complimenting them, telling them how much they mean to you, thanking them, all of those things go such a long way, I think, for men, because we don't hear that very often, I think, in most contexts. So
no, that's true. I think our culture is, men are kind of taught to suppress and push down and don't expose your feelings. But man, it's incredible to hear, man, you're really good at that. Or gosh, I'm glad you're here because you take care of this all the time. And this one part of our life or our home or whatever it is always taken care of. And it's an incredible thing to hear that. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm getting recognized. I am doing the right thing. It's nice.
I make a difference. It's lovely. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. You're right, Rex.
Shared religious attendance. So is there anything gleaned in that more? Like, is it better for couples to be of the same faith and things like that?
Yeah. So they've done studies on shared faith, and what they have found is these days having mixed faith marriages aren't as big a deal as they used to be. So, as far as that one finding goes, I'm not sure. I think if you can find a church that you both like, even if it's not necessarily the denomination that you usually do, I think that is, probably, I wouldn't know, but probably in the research we would find that would be fine. Now, the one exception is, well, there are a couple of exceptions, but one of the main exceptions is when there's a mixed faith, and one of them is LDS, right, who belongs to Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That can be difficult. And then I'm trying to remember the other one. I think it might have been atheist and anyone who was strongly religious or something like that. That was also problematic. But most mixed denomination faiths are, even Jewish and Catholic, most are don't have any worse marriage relationships than anybody else.
So they're more compatible?
Yeah, I just don't know that it matters as much as it used to, as far as an identity factor. So where before, say 50 or 60 years ago, pick a denomination, right? It really mattered to you, and it defined you, and it was more than just, I'm a Protestant, but I am a Lutheran, right? And my ancestry is German, and so there's, just all of that mixed up in there, but now I just don't think that people are as concerned about the dogma or anything.
Is that because I would say Western cultures become more secularized?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and dogma is certainly not. Dogma is generally frowned upon these days, right? Nothing is black and white anymore. It's all gray, and it's your truth and my truth, and so dogma is not that, right? Dogma is, this is how it is. Yeah, so it doesn't receive a very warm welcome most of the time.
Because in my experience, that was a pretty profound moment for my wife and I, is attending the same church and being of the same faith, because we were different. I was raised Catholic and became Protestant for a while. She was Protestant her whole life. I tried going to Protestant churches and just never felt right about it. And had a hard time. And then she decided to try Catholic church and then started to like it. And then it was incredible, because then we both went on a journey and she became Catholic, and it helped us a lot. And it's just nice to have that kind of joint thing going to every week.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, especially I like what you said about it being a journey, right? I think anytime you're walking with your spouse toward a destination in life, I think that's just going to be incredible for your marriage, and so I think that's great.
Yeah, sharing an experience and kind of going through it at the same time, and saying, "Oh, well, this is what I got from it, and this is what I got. Oh, that's interesting," and having that kind of keeps it lively too.
Yep.
I really like all this. And then regular date nights, 2 or more a month. This reminds me of something I can't remember his name, Dave. You'll have to say it. It's not. We've talked to him twice. That really helps, doesn't it? He's out in Minnesota.
Bill Doherty.
Yeah, Bill Doherty. Okay. He said, I loved this. It just stuck with me when he said it. As far as date nights go, a babysitter is cheaper than divorce.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so profound.
That sounds like Bill Doherty too. So
yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah, I really think that it is so important to get away from everybody, especially the kids, right? As important as parenting is, I really think, when Liz asked that question about marriage getting put to the back burner, rarely is parenting put in the back burner, and so, because the kids have needs and urgent needs, right? And that's proper, right? That's proper. That's right. That's good. But I think that a lot of times people will say, okay, well, we can put the marriage on the back burner. And then that's a problem, because if marriage is a flower, well, we need to be putting in that little bit of water and sunshine every day. Otherwise, it's going to wither,
Yeah.
So,
I saw something by Dennis Prager who said, and I thought this was interesting. I'm kind of curious if any of you guys have done this, but he said that it's great to have family vacations with the kids, but definitely, like, the kids are going to grow up and leave the house. You're going to still be married after that. You need to have some vacations for just you while the kids are still growing up, so that you're still together after they leave the nest. Is there anything about that you could speak to, Jeff? And I was wondering, Dave, if you have done any just vacations with you and your wife.
Mm.
So I don't know the research that way, whether there's anything in the research about it, but my wife and I have taken a couple of by ourselves vacations, and it's very, how shall we say, very healthy, very, very good for our relationship. And,
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dave?
Yeah. Huge fan. We try to do quarterly, if not 6 months, right after Christmas. It's a getaway after the holiday, because all the holiday stuff. And so it is, we try to go for like 2 nights, sometimes one, and I get everyone couples is different, but it seems like, if it's just one night, it's okay. We get a late start and go to a hotel or a place or Park City or whatever, and then you come back the next day. But man, it has done wonders, and I look forward to getaways more than anything else. It is just fun for us to get away. So prioritize, save up, whatever you have to.
Where do you like? I don't have family, so I wouldn't even know where to leave my kids. Though, is there? If you don't have family in the movie, is that who you leave the kids with when you go on those vacations?
Sometimes it would be family. Other times it would be some, in our church congregation, people would do a swap with other couples, so they would leave ours and then would return the favor for them.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, save up for a babysitter or nanny, somebody. Yeah,
awesome.
It's worth it.
And I think that one of the reasons it's important, well, I'll just say this: I was talking to a couple, and he's about to retire, and she has already retired, and their main issue is they've never really been alone together much, right? Even after the kids left, they were both working, and it was just, hi, who are you? And so I think those vacations, I think those dates and things are just so important to.
Yeah, but that's a beautiful opportunity to get to know your spouse all over again. If they have that perception. But yeah, that would also be a little bit, oh my gosh, how do we, it's like you're getting off a train all of a sudden. What do you do?
Yeah. I mean, Liz, do you have many clients who come in after retirement and who are like, help us?
It's tough. I think that's why Gray Divorce has its own name, right? Yeah. Gray Divorce. And yet I have such hope in couples coming back together, finding the glue again, or recreating it. I mean, it's just not easy. It's just saying, let's just start over somewhere else, where people that are already playing pickleball, like I love to play pickleball. It's like, oh gosh, let's just find something else, right? Let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's not start over. Can we done everything we can to have this again, a new marriage 2.0, marriage 3.0, versus having to close that chapter.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, this has been awesome. I've loved hearing this research and these 4 key principles. Thanks for sharing them with us. and answering my questions.
Yeah. Yep. So like I said, I'd be happy to come on anytime. So I think these kinds of things are really, really important.
Thanks for joining us today. Hey, do us a favor and take a second to subscribe to our podcast and the Utah Marriage Commission YouTube channel at Utah Marriage Commission, where you can watch this and every episode of the show. Be sure to smash the like button, leave a comment, and share this episode with a friend. You can also follow and interact with us on Instagram at Stronger Marriage Life and Facebook at Stronger Marriage. So be sure to share with us which topics you loved or which guests we should have on the show next. If you want even more resources to improve your marriage or relationship connection, visit strongermarriage.org, where you'll find free workshops, e-courses, in-depth webinars, relationship surveys, and more. Each episode of Stronger Marriage Connection is hosted and sponsored by the Utah Marriage Commission at Utah State University. And finally, a big thanks to our producer, Rex Polanis, and the team at Utah State University, and you, our audience. You make this show possible. The opinions, findings, conclusions, and recommendations expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of the Utah Marriage Commission.